Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, something new, isn't it? Submit your tunes to me. I know some of you play, right? Looking at you, Duncan. Looking at you, Igoy. Send it to me. I will put it up. I need to not get banned for playing copyrighted music. By the way, I put in the titles of this song, so they are not copyright material. I do credit them. Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Now, today's format is it's going to be slightly a little different. I've been trying something new. So what's going to happen is I will start with the preparation for the week, and then the training videos for the day. Some are pre-recorded, some are not. So I will come in live once in a while. The objective is so that I can be collating questions. I can be also reviewing what I'm running through the materials, and then we will end off with some Q&A. So it gives me more bandwidth to be interacting with you throughout the entire session. So it takes up twice the amount of my time, right? So instead of just live streaming once through, I pre-record and prepare the materials, and then I re-watch the live stream together with you. And additionally, I will add on with any further comments that arises from the live stream, and including Q&A. So obviously time is a constraint that I want to manage. So I beg your pardon if I cannot, but it's not a problem too, because you see me every single day, isn't it? So don't worry if there are unresolved questions. You know, we will take it to the trading day, and I always compile them. There is a large language model, or not really, that well, it's more of a retrieval system that I'm keeping in a database that I can get back to you regarding some frequently asked questions. All right, so let's start. And let's start with the preparation for the week. Come, let us prepare. Make some good profits this week. Market lifters, some clues right here. There's very heavy liquidity here, as well as this very important level here. Let's talk about that. There is a very important indicator as well. This will decide if we continue to stay up. So I will talk a little bit more about this later in this video. But more importantly is understanding how we manage to squeeze. A very big part is understanding this liquidity here for this week. So do a very simple review that you understand how from here you're able to tell this particular squeeze later in the week as well. So a big part of that is watching what we talked about on Wednesday here. Now this is very important. You have to learn to understand this. It's not the first time we talked about this, isn't it? So how we were soaking up sellers pre-market. So this is 29th of April at 1 p.m. This was 1 p.m. right here. You can track back to the video then. It's important you understand this, where I talked about how this was soaking up the sellers for the big squeeze that will happen. Right, so it's not the first time you've seen this. So if you've been watching my videos, this will be very familiar to you. And this was the premise of the squeeze that thereafter happened. You see, for the next 2 days, we started squeezing. Now, will we start selling? This is important because I want you to understand what this really means and how to be preparing accordingly from here. And as we take a look now at the trend indicators, I will also be quickly running through some of the very important levels right there. So it's important you watch the previous video from this. The links are in the description, and more importantly, track back to the video before that and the video before that, so you can understand and chain up my thought process, so you can be able to understand how we got here so far. I was talking about how the market created one market cycle, right, from the retest of the upper Bollinger's to the retest of the bottom Bollinger's, and back up again to the upper Bollinger. So there has been many inflection points throughout this, and I term this as one market cycle. So this is the perfect opportunity for you to learn, because the market was kind that within 1 to 2 months, we managed to get a full market cycle that you can learn from and be able to understand how to be preparing for this next time. So one way to do this is to watch my videos every single day. If you can, track back how we prepared each day after day and how to be understanding where we got here so far. So I post videos every day. It helps you in your understanding. That's your best way to learn, because the market gives you the opportunity to learn by giving you several scenarios in one beautiful market cycle. This is your opportunity to learn. Usually this happens literally years. It takes to happen, but we have it in 2 months. Take a time and opportunity to learn this. And so likewise for Discord members, end of day summary here. So this is what you need to be doing, reviewing every day's end of day summary together with the video reviews that I've given you. So it's the best way to learn. And one of the more important points that I talked about is how you see the 200-day moving average. I'm sorry, I meant the 20-day moving average closing in to that 700 level that I was talking about. And I told you, wait for the bottom Bollinger to start trending up again, right? Breaking out from the previous lows right here. You see it dipped previously, right? I said when it was dipping here, it will continue trending up. And you see it happen. And now that we are back here, now we may want to be anticipating a pullback here, but you do not jump the gun, because I also mentioned how the 5-day can be trending up together with the upper Bollinger, and you see it bouncing off the 5-day and upper Bollinger, giving us the beautiful moves right here, at least 40-point move because of the 5-day bouncing up with the upper Bollinger right there. Now, it's important. You have to see 5 days starting to plateau. You have to see the upper Bollinger starting to trend down as well, right? And you see the 20-day coming closer to that level, and the bottom Bollinger is already trending up. So this is a good sign if there is going to be a pullback. And I mentioned that the 20-day will almost certainly be retested once every month. Right, if you take a look at every uptrend, and I've shown you this many times, this is the 20-day moving average, and you see in every uptrend, we will always have a retest of the 20-day. Sometimes we're lucky, we get a retest of the bottom Bollinger right here as well. Right, but you see the 20-day will always be retested. So that's the most beautiful thing about that. You can't be waiting out for that, and eventually it will happen. But before that happens, well, it's obvious to see the 5-day turn into some sort of resistance. And you see the liquidity already building up near where the 5-day is and where the 5-day is plateauing. So this is where you have to be paying close attention to. So where do we go from here? You take a look now at the 30-minute chart, and you see now the 5-day is coming close to where the liquidity is. You see that happening, isn't it? So this is what you want to see. You want to see the 5-day starting to plateau, maybe to trend down slightly. You want to see the 20-day coming to a very key liquidity level, as I mentioned, that 700 level, right? And you want to see the blue algorithm. Remember the blue algorithm? Yes, this is where the market has been building liquidity. This is where, if the bears want to be retesting, they want it to be building liquidity on the way down there. So now you see that the magenta is already starting to rebuild some liquidity here, starting to show some selling, the magenta, isn't it? But you just have to be careful for now, because remember I talked about this orange. You remember this orange? See for yourself how this orange bounced back up. It's still a buying continuation structure. You cannot be complacent. It's still a buying continuation structure. So pay close attention to that if it wants to buy up. And you see the squeeze happening in that green for 2 days. It was very enjoyable, because you can very safely allow your calls or your long positions to just run, because it's in the strongest identified algorithm right there. So firstly, before this break. You have to first wait for the orange to break. So if the market is kind, we break it early, right? So you pay close attention to that. Otherwise, I will be more mindful if this wants to head down, that the market must first enter into this blue liquidity zone here where the 5-day moving average will reside, right? You want to see who's selling, whether it's the magenta, and obviously you want to see stronger orange selling as well as green selling here. Form a structure with 5-day as a resistance and to grab this liquidity on the way down to retest the 20-day moving average eventually. So you pay very close attention to that. However, the market can be building liquidity here, isn't it? Maybe it will take some time, right? 5-day you still have to watch out. 5-day can still turn into some form of very strong support. So just pay close attention to that. The market can grind a little further before it starts to retest and re-enter the blue liquidity as well, because they want to build more liquidity. They want to trap more buyers before they start pulling back and giving time for the 20-day moving average to come closer to the range and give it time for the 5-day to remain in this blue zone for it to build more liquidity. So this is what I mean by algorithm, level by level. You do not rush this, right? It's a live auction. That means at every point in time, they can place new orders. So why are you predicting? You cannot be predicting. So you have to learn to tell. Now, this is how you learn to tell. You know the tactics that the market can deploy. You know the playbook. You know how to be looking out for liquidity. So in a way, it's like football. You know how the ball travels, right? There's a certain law involved, and that law is physics. So in the market, in the stock market, the law is demand, supply, and orders. And when you can understand that, you understand the concept of liquidity, you understand the strength of the buying and selling with the algorithms, and from there you can be able to understand liquidity, you can be able to understand orders, and you can be, most importantly, able to understand, in a way, the laws of physics in the stock market. And you can prepare accordingly. So this is how you be preparing. It's a skill. You have to learn it. So you do not be predicting. This is not a crystal ball, right? If you're looking at this like a crystal ball, you are obviously looking at trading in the wrong way. And you are the reason why there's liquidity for you and I, for our members to be taking advantage of, right? So now that you're watching this, learn it. Stop becoming liquidity, right? So understand this, very important. Yes, these are the very key indicators here. Now, for a better move, right, that will be for the market to build more liquidity here. Now, obviously, I want something like that. If it's just more upside here for at least the 20-day moving average retest, 20-day will continue trending up. That's what's going to happen. Right, so you want to see more liquidity building before it starts pushing up once again. If it wants to continue heading up, a 20-day retest, and then continuing up the 5-day and the upper Bollinger right there. So you can see past examples of how it happens, right? It's there for you. Most importantly, don't be shorting this before any confirmation, right? You have to learn to do that. Now, the people who are shorting this, they are having someone pay it for them. Right, so this is how the advanced people do it. It's not that advanced, it's quite a simple way to do it. And that is they are selling calls to fund their puts. So you understand how that works, because when you sell your calls, you can continue to manage your risks, because time becomes your ally, because you are owning the underlying stock. So you understand that because you are covered, you have time as your ally, and therefore you can continually be selling while taking the income from selling your calls to fund your puts. So someone is paying for your short position. You understand that? You are not over leveraged because someone is paying for your short position. The earlier you understand that, the better you will become as a trader. So please understand that someone is paying for your over leveraged position. And when you're shorting something, you will certainly be over leveraged, because shorting by essence of itself is taking a leverage position. You are borrowing somebody's stock and paying it back later. You understand the logic of shorting. So these are basic principles of trading. You have to first figure that out before you want to come to more advanced concepts like this. Now, if you're trading 0 day to expiry, options, if you're taking very high leverage positions in trading options in general, you have to understand this is advanced. This requires precision. So if you do not understand the basics, then you have to focus on building that. And this is why I'm going to run a course soon, not just the basics, but also the advanced in the Discord server as well. We've been running several weekly courses as well, weekly training videos. So Discord members, please do review them, right? There are courses, lots of tidbits and very good anecdotes within each training videos for you to enhance your trading knowledge. And most importantly is show up every day, trade with me every day, watch and review the videos and your trades every day. That's the best way to learn, right? So watch out for the entire week. Let's see where the liquidity goes now that we also have the conditions that are approaching, right? And you see the very key liquidity levels here, right? You want to see 20-day coming close to that 700 level. That's when we can close the inverse cup where the liquidity is before it starts building more liquidity if it wants to reject the 20-day moving average. So you see there are very key support levels in the 20-day, in the 200-day, and most importantly, your bottom Bollinger is quickly approaching your 200-day moving average as well. Remember back then when we had that Liberation Day dump right here, I told you don't worry, because once the bottom Bollinger crosses above the 200-day moving average, and you see here, you're not too late to go long. Obviously, there are also indicators like the 20-day and the 5-day you have to pay close attention to. But true enough, take a look. If you were to buy then, say bottom Bollinger crossing above your 200-day moving average, if you were to buy then, you would still be able to catch. It was 580 when we got there, right? And now we are at 720. You could have still caught 140 points. And SPY, that's 1,400 points on the S&P 500, SPX, or even on the ES. Incredible. So don't worry about that, right? There are indicators that you can continue to wait for and just be patient about, right? And you see, we are coming to some sort of convergence in most of the trend indicators. So this is where you start paying attention. All right. So most importantly, watch that market cycle videos, right? Understand day by day. That's how you improve, right? When we train together, when we trade together, this is the best way to improve, right? If you're depending on one video, especially a 10-minute video, to make yourself a better trader, you must be dreaming. You must be dreaming. You have to put in the work. And I'm putting in the work every single day, producing videos for you, trading together with you, right? Like it or not, you may think I'm not working hard, and that's your opinion. But I'm the one putting in the work every single day. So your opinion doesn't matter to me. I show up every day. You show up every day. You get better, right? That's our relationship. I want you to get better. You better get better, right? It's up to you. It's up to you. Your decision. I will make my move and you decide if you want to make a move. So if you want to get better at trading, you have to come every day, show up, and please do in the work. Watch the videos, understand the videos, and review 5 years worth of resources at the Discord server. Right, 5 years worth. Every single day. Almost every single day. I provide analysis. Right, and they can be traced back. It's all time stamped. It's not on hindsight. It's all time-stamped. You can take a look. You can review it. You can compare it to the videos, right? And try to make sense of it for yourself, right? So you be the judge. And most of the time, the people who don't do the work, they want to find someone else to blame. And I'm the easy target. But it's fine, because at the end of the day, you're lying to yourself and you're the one that's wasting money. So please, stop lying to yourself. Be honest with yourself. That's the first step. And then once you can overcome the barrier of your laziness, this is when you start putting in the work. And that's when you will see real progress, right? So thank you very much for watching. I will see you closer to opening bell. And for members, I'll proceed on to the training videos now. Thank you very much for watching. The training on Monday, you see quite importantly right at the start of day, once we identified the magenta, yeah, there is easy move here, right? Because you identified as well the blue algorithm here. Now, if you missed that, that's absolutely fine. Let's take a look at at the initial analysis there, right? Once we identified the magenta. This was when we identified magenta at 9:41. So quite early on, 9:41, we already identified the magenta. So there was an initial trade here because you see magenta was building liquidity here as well at the mid-range. But you could have caught it here too. That's not a problem. Right? Still a very good early trade. Now remember, early trades, you have to take as much profits as possible. Right? Take as much profits as possible because you see that the market may still be building liquidity here. Right? So even though magenta was technically still in control here, but it was building a very strong nested structure right there, isn't it? While still staying within the wedge of the pink. So just be more careful. Early candles, you have to take as much profits as you can instead of worrying about whether it will run. And so trust me, when the market's shaping up in the morning especially, unless it's a trend day, which is very, very, very few and far in between, right? Maybe once every 10 trading days, you get a trend day. Even in recent times where it's more volatile, you get maybe only once a week a full trend day, right, where it just goes one direction without retesting a previous high or previous low. That's my definition of a trend day. Right, so until that happens, right, especially early candles when the market is trying to shape up, you have to be taking profits as much as you can, right? So some of you probably shorted here, which was a great short because you see that the blue precision algorithm was guiding you on the way down here. So this is still absolutely beautiful. Great profits, especially at the start. So that's not too bad. Right now, at the point here, you see that the pink was building liquidity. So this is quite important, right? You see pink building liquidity. You could have also took a zombie here, right? Knowing that the market will have to build liquidity here like that, right? So you could have just taken the way down. That works as well because you see how magenta was still building liquidity here, right? Magenta building liquidity, and you realize that magenta hadn't showed a structure, wasn't that clear anymore, right? If you manage to see this, it's not too bad. To me, it's not clear, right? Because with the pink there as well, unless you're taking a zombie off pink. Now, this will be more ideal if it's a zombie off pink. So let me show you what zombie of the pink looks like, right? You see the left shoulder and the right shoulder there, right? Because you see the pink was controlling the liquidity. I'll show you that later. So unless you're taking a zombie off the pink, right? I don't truly see a magenta building a head and shoulder pattern. However, we charted the yellow, and you notice the yellow was supposed to be like that, and you see the scattered chart here. Yeah, and I aligned and fine-tuned the yellow here. Do you see how it's at the center band? This is also known as a scattered chart. Scattered plotting, I talked about that in the last training video. And so when you started fine-tuning the yellow, you see the yellow was building liquidity on the way down. It's a form of dual algorithms. Initially, it was magenta trying to build liquidity. Didn't work out, and you see a stronger bearish structure here like that. Now, the only thing stopping this, right, obviously was the teal. You wanted it to sell further down in teal, right, but it didn't. It didn't sell further down in teal. And once you see that the break of pink. So this was quite promising here. All right, let me just show you that here. Let's zoom it in a little bit more. So this was quite promising initially. Right, once we broke out of that yellow and we broke out of the pink. Large candles, right? Great volume. This was quite promising, right? And this is where you started charting the blue. Now, if this continued heading down, especially with the teal, this would have been great. So you have to protect your runners then and nurture your runners down if possible, right? But you know when to stop hoping, right? You know when to be taking early profits, protecting your position, and you know when it stops working out instead of holding a loser. You will never be holding a loser anymore, right? Because it didn't, especially once it reclaimed that pink. Now, once it reclaimed that pink, you knew something was up, right? And this is why I charted this. You see the reclaiming of the pink here. You knew pink was in charge now. And you see it much more clearly once you see the wicks here forming that support. And you see the very beautiful head and shoulder pattern on the breakout and retrace here. The only problem with this, once again, was this yellow. And you see how penny perfect it is. Plenty of levels for you to protect the trade. So for example, you could have taken, let me just show you, taken a call here and protected by then. You could have weathered the chop because you could see that it was magenta that was still buying up. So can you see how penny perfect this is? Once you're able to see it, you cannot unsee it anymore, right? And when did we truly break out? Once we had that orange breaking out from that yellow right there. Now, this is not the definitive trade because thereafter you saw there was a clearer breakout here with that pink. And I mentioned how we closed the cup here, isn't it? Once we soak up the sellers and we regrab the liquidity here. So there was a starter position here, yes. But thereafter you see how it retraced back to the pink. Penny perfect. Once again, it's the same problem. Magenta tapering to yellow. So that's a problem here, right? Magenta tapering to yellow. You don't want to go long here yet. But there are means and ways you can go long. And one of them is seeing that orange starting to appear. So there was a big candle here and you could have taken a trade here like that. This was beautiful. Now I extrapolated this in one of the analysis here. Let's see for yourself. And I talked about this in one of the end of day videos as well. Right, see for yourself here. Right, this was at 10:58. Let's see again. Why is it not working? All right, cup close. Teal, pink, grab, yellow, breakout of yellow. Let's see it for yourself. Let's zoom in. See it for yourself. Right, so once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So diligently chart the algorithms and learn to be able to find structure with the algorithms right there. Right, this was absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Now, at this point here, once we stopped, now this was pretty good, right? I took a trade here. I showed you the trade. And, you know, psychologically, you need to be preparing ahead, right? So I took a trade on the break and it was at 7, which was 100% trade, but I didn't take the fill. Well, not in great condition today, but it was still a very beautiful trade. So I wanted to see if you even took a small trade setup with good confirmation, you can still get 100% trade. There's no need to be catching the full move. There's no need to get too greedy for that, right? So learn to plan accordingly like that. It will be very helpful to you. Another will be how you see once we had orange, right? We reverted back to the magenta, right? And we started tapering back to the yellow here. So it was very inconclusive. I wouldn't go long here, not at all. After seeing that the market's not building more liquidity on the way up, and there was just serious liquidity with the yellow here. So unless this pink continues to head down, as I shown you, and we break it like that, yes, this would have been a beautiful trade. And you see it's happening now after hours, right? So the market wants this liquidity. But we do not have the luxury of having that, especially we ran out of runway. On a Monday, this is very unlikely. On Friday, it's more likely that they will want to try to close positions, right, instead of leaving liquidity in the market. And so once we were no longer in the pink, right, we literally are out of range. So I told you, we're out of runway. Time to wrap it up. I'm not even interested in going long. I know this may be a possible trade, right? But I'm not interested going long because we were capped by that, right? And some of you probably got caught by the 350 candle here. This was intense, right? Without the precision algorithm, it's very difficult for you to be making good money in the final 10 minutes. So believe me on that. Right? You don't see precision algorithms, it's very difficult to make money. So anyway, understanding this, right? So once again, plenty of opportunities to be making money with the algorithms. All you have to do is to learn to structure your trade and be patient. A lot of times it can be quite frustrating as well. This was frustrating once we started grinding up in the magenta, right? But if you manage to protect a position, like scale down, you could still manage to get a trade here and get some good money to fund for your second trade, which was the good trade. I felt this was a good trade here, right? So once again, find profits in the charts is not that hard, even though it's a choppy day today. Very choppy. Look, this was more effectively a 2-point range throughout the entire day. This is very choppy. Let's not talk about that range, right? How about this? This was 0.5 point range. This is crazy. 0.5 point range here and another 0.5 point range here for hours. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're literally just gambling. But if you realize with the algorithms and really forming structure with the algorithms, you're able to still find profits, very good profits in the chart here, right? Even though it was a chop, right? This was bad too, not easy. You can imagine how many retailers got trapped here in this very quick bounce. But because we had the pink algorithm, we were able to make sense of this, isn't it? Right? So this doesn't come as a surprise to you, especially once we identify the yellow. Eventually, you see the wedge was very clear. So you could have still gotten nice profits here if you wanted to. This was still good profits, believe me. Right, and thereafter you're seeing the pink here. This was also beautiful profits if you can allow the magentas to start building liquidity on the way up. Right, so right, on to the next day here. Tuesday was, well, let me see. How shall I scale this difficulty on Tuesday? Tuesday, I think it was slightly above average in terms of difficulty. It's not a particular easy day to trade, but let me just run through that. Now, contextual clues aside in the 30-minute chart, right? Because it's a day prior to FOMC, and we were in chop zone here. So I think a big part of understanding Tuesday was understanding that we were tightly wedged, right? So I talked about this green liquidity, right? Tuesday was here. Let me just circle that, as well as this blue. So you see how we are literally in the middle of the wedge with the 5-day moving average. So contextual clues will already tell you to be setting alerts for the bigger moves instead of contending yourself in the chop. So if you're trading within the chop, you have to learn to be setting alerts and not over trading until we retest certain key levels. Well, now the first thing about about Tuesday was this. Understanding, once we identify the orange algorithm here, right? So you see, once you identify the orange, as tempting as it is, right, that this continues to grind up, if you do not have structure. So at this point, we were grinding up here, right? Grinding up. You do not have structure in identifying the bullish control. So for example, you want to see, what did I say? I wanted to see teal building liquidity, right? So you don't see the teal building liquidity. You don't see something like that, right? Only later on, right? So at the start here, you don't see the teal building liquidity. So you see it running up in orange. You cannot be going long. Not yet, until maybe you have a stronger push and bouncing off that. So you see I charted the blue algorithm as well. So if you see breaking out of the blue like that, well, it's an obvious squeeze, maybe because it's news or something else, then yes, you go long. But at this point, you cannot be going long until you see the blue, or in this case, the teal, starting to build liquidity. Now, the teal truly started to build liquidity. So if you were to be taking a zombie trade here, right? So this is quite ideal, because if you're taking, say you're shorting this here as a zombie, you have the teal that's guiding you on the way down. You could be taking profits, because thereafter there was a very lucky green seller that appeared. So if you're taking zombie, this is a very valid trade. You would have protected early because there was a large red candle, and then you allowed yourself the full move here together with the green appearing, because you have the teal that's guiding your stop loss. Beautiful zombie trade, all because you are able to identify the orange, see the lack of buying continuation, and once we broke out of the blue here. All trading comes with some risks, but the most important thing is being able to calculate your risks, especially with the algorithms right there. Right, so you understand that it could be a very beautiful first move. And it was also at this point in time that we identified the pink here. So 950 was here. We already identified the pink. So now your conditions for going long has become more stringent, because you saw the pink liquidity actually appearing, and you see how penny perfect the pink was. See it for yourself, right? So understanding this, quite important. So at this point here, two things you got to learn. First thing is, even though we are technically above the 5-day moving average, right? So some of you take your judgment based on 1 or 2 candles. It's contextual. Yes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because it depends on the volume of the liquidity, which you cannot tell from the candlestick itself. And it depends on how much orders are there participating as well. So there are certain information that is just too detailed, that you cannot process or you don't have access to. And it doesn't mean that if you have access to those information, you can have the perfect trade. So you keep it simple, right, and understand how to be managing your risks there. Right, so understanding that, so you have to wait for structure to form. Like what I mentioned, if this forms, this will be absolutely beautiful. Right, so at that point there, if you manage to see the teal, right, so teal was, that's not too bad. Teal was building liquidity, right? But by then, because you and I were different, we're different from the others, because we're able to identify the pink algorithm. We see the market building liquidity here. We know to wait for the pink if this wants to go long. So with the pink, you see that it's rejected here, and that's fine. This is where you wait and see whether there is move here. We also identified the magenta. So you see that the wedge has started to form. So when do you short this? When do you long this? How do you avoid getting caught in the chop? Now in hindsight, it's easier to see this, right? And this is where you learn, because you learn during the trade, right? During my analysis, and then you review it on hindsight. So your experience, the same chart, your experience has multiplied, because you are learning during when the candles were moving with the live analysis. And now you're learning on hindsight when you review it later. It's 2 different experiences on the same charts. You're multiplying that same experience that you had, right? Because you're looking at it on different angles. It's the same reason. You look at a game from different angles. It could be a football game, for example. You look at it from different angles. You look at it from different perspectives. You will learn so much more, even though it's just technically the same game. So that's okay. Anyway, now once we broke out of the magenta, right, you see how we started building more liquidity on the breakout and retrace, isn't it? Before it start heading down. Now, why I said this was a difficult day was because you saw pink was also building liquidity here. It was clear the pink was building liquidity. So even when there was a breakout and retrace, I wouldn't be so sure to short this, knowing that pink was there, right? But if you manage to chart the blue, right, in this case, You see the blue that was building, that's selling strength right there. You could have called an early position. You protected your position. You could have nurtured it down like that. So it's not straightforward because you know that the bears were building liquidity for the bulls later, right? You see it happening later on. Oh, it started trending back up. So that's the thing. This is just competing algorithms in a very small range. Now you look at the candles, they may look large, but take a look. 709.59 and 711.50. That's just 2 points. This is just 2 points. So you have to be very careful in not trading in the chop. Take a look at the 30-minute chart. It will be even clearer to you. Here, this is it. This is it. Look at that. Such a small range. This is a chop in the larger scheme of things. So if you cannot see a trade, and that's the most important thing when you learn about trading. If you cannot see a trade, you do not trade this. Because on hindsight, it may look beautiful. Right? It may look like that. It's beautiful, all nice and dandy. And obviously you have a very strong selling teal, right? That was penny perfect. That could guide you on your zombies. But the truth is, if it is a wedge and you see conflicting algorithms and you're not too confident to enter a trade, to protect it, and to manage your risks accordingly, right? Then no trade for you. That's fine. You missed nothing. So this is very important. The concept that I always remind you to be finding profits in the charts and not worrying about where the charts are going. Because if you're very insistent on thinking, this is going up or this is going down, you see, you have eliminated half the possibilities of making money. But the decision to short this, perhaps, if you understand that the teal may be selling, that we are under 5-day moving average, that the market may be building liquidity for this pink, with the idea that this can happen, right? So you get into position once you saw magenta that is being retraced and rejected. I short at a resistance. And take a look how many resistances are there, right? So there was teal, there was magenta. So this is not too bad. This is not too bad area to short this. I could stagger. I don't know where the 5-day was at live, but I believe it was probably closer to the teal, right? I believe so. So I could have staggered my stops, and one of them being at 5-day, right? And shorted this, protected as soon as possible, saw the blue algorithm appear, and take more profits nearing to the end of blue. So you see, it's about getting into position, and it's one of the key lessons, getting into positions so you can protect your position and be stress-free and assess if there is continuation. So when you understand the step-by-step process of trade decision, it becomes much easier instead of thinking, it's going either up or down. You see, that's too easy. It's too easy. There are easy days where you can just do that, right? But the market wants you to be complacent so that they can eat you up one day. But you and I were different, right? Because we are skilled. We are technically skilled in finding profits in the charts every single day. Now thereafter, you notice that magenta was busy building liquidity here, right? So one more trade here you could have taken, fair enough. And that was here, right? So if you shorted this, you could have still protected, make some money. This is still pretty good money, right? You understand that, right? If you shorted this with magenta, because it was selling. It truly was selling in, I think it was blue, right? You still could have made some good money by protecting your trade. So you shouldn't be losing money if you're shorting here. The only time you lose money is you don't protect your trade, you get greedy, and you do not respect the precision algorithms, right? Because thereafter you see that we started tapering. You see the pink, the very bullish liquidity we identified, starting to reclaim control. And then we started chopping. This is where it starts chopping, right? And by then, you should have identified another algorithm. I took a break from here, right? But I didn't chart this blue, but by then you would have been able to identify that the market was building more liquidity with a new control algorithm right there. And if you wanted to short this, this is what you want to be waiting out for. As we close the day, we're running out of runway. But yet you see the long position that happened, isn't it? Once we trended up the magenta. And do you see that, the long position? The reclaiming of that pink algorithm. Look, penny perfect right there. Do you see that? Absolutely beautiful. But that's the question. Do you wait till then till you set alerts? But this is not a good move as well, because once we are trapped in the range, the better move, if there is a stronger upside, is if we close the cup, rebuild more liquidity. So I would have set alerts at 5-day and at the low, and I would not be even be bothered by what is happening in between, because you realize it's not so easy with the structure, right? Because it's technically in the middle of the range with the chop. So if you're desperate, try not to trade if you're desperate, firstly. And so if you truly want to, you can practice, because you will learn all the microstructures therein. And secondly, if you want, you can scale down. You still can be making some money. And if you lose money, it's insignificant, because it's something that you can easily make back in the next trade. So you see, this is how you assess risks. When you can understand the risks, you can trade accordingly. So even if you had a red trade, you do not worry, because it's something you can easily make back in the next trade once there is less risk in your assessment. So yes, eventually we caught up, right? We built liquidity here. And if you were charting this blue, right, this blue was important, because if you charted this blue, you would see how it started building support of the blue that was resistance. You see that together with the pink. And so maybe you could have caught that. And this was contextual too, because the market returned back to 5-day where the safety was. So even if we went nowhere, we returned back to 5-day as a safety. So there was a clear target once we see some bullish control happening here. So if you trade long enough with me, you see this is also a viable trade. It comes with context, it comes with skill, it comes with showing up every day, familiarizing with how we trade, and you can find profits in the chart. Who cares this is going up or going down? It's going back to 5-day. You realize that. So it doesn't matter going up or going down, but it's going somewhere you and I are familiar with, and we can understand the context behind this and maybe even capitalize on it. So understanding this, very important. So Tuesday, not an easy day to trade. So if you didn't take any trades, I would applaud you. Pretty good, because you understand. I mean, just take a look at this. Come on. If you took no trades here, well done. Well done. It's not too bad. All right. So quite a good day to learn some things as well. Yeah, let's proceed to the next day. Now, Wednesday was FOMC day, obviously. It's quite fun day. Let me just explain this. Firstly, there were some very penny perfect contextual clues from the 30-minute chart, right? So firstly, this was Wednesday, right? So firstly, it was the bounce of the blue algorithm. So if you watched the daily videos, then I talked about how the blue was building liquidity, and you see on Tuesday and Monday, we already wicked it at least 4 times, right? So penny perfect. You understand that the bears are building liquidity for this, so they want to be building liquidity for the leg down, right? Understand this. So technically speaking, we did. So I'll just make this brief, right? Technically speaking, we did break down, but it was in the orange. You see that? So therefore, once we had that engulfing here, this becomes very easy for us to take this, which I will explain later, right? Understanding that. All right, so understanding this, how the blue was building liquidity. So that 10 a.m. candle here, which was here, this was the perfect bounce of the blue. Now, ideally, you do not trade in the morning of FOMC. Try not to, because firstly, you will see that there are bigger moves that comes later, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But in this case, it was because there were large earnings massive earnings after hours, and that's why the market was slightly muted, even though there were very good moves here. So try not to trade, but otherwise you notice penny perfect at the blue, 5-day penny perfect rejection. This was also a blue rejection here. Take a look. Yeah, this was also a blue rejection right there. Absolutely beautiful until we started trending down a little. Now, this was important because remember I talked about how we broke the blue? Yeah, so you want to see who's breaking the blue. It's that orange. And how do we translate this in a 30-minute chart into the 1 minute? This pink algorithm here. So I mentioned this. One of the analysis live then. Right, let's take a look. What did I talk about? Here. So you understand that there was a pink that's in the market. This seller was in the market, but it's not truly a seller, isn't it? You understand, it was the bulls allowing the sellers to build liquidity. So I mentioned, if this wants to head down, especially for all these large red candles here, you're so tempted to short this, right? But if you're not shorting this early from the break of the orange and protecting it before the pink, you're in trouble. Don't catch it. Don't catch it here. Some of you shorted this here with the knowledge of pink. Why? This is the support. You cannot be doing mistakes like that. You understand? You have the knowledge and the advantage of the algorithms. You cannot be making mistakes like that. Right? Please. Now you see it. If this wants to truly dump, you will see this happening. You will not miss it, because this is where all the orders will be, and they will trigger all the stop loss, and there will be stronger move down. Sometimes it's a stop hunt, but you cannot be preparing for exceptions. You have to be preparing for the norm. And when exceptions happen, you're also prepared, because with the algorithms, and I've taught you that, you can also be learning to identify stop hunt. So firstly, that's the thing, right? Before it prevents you from shorting. Then the next part about this is seeing, now where do we go long here? Have you remembered we went long when we saw the blue buy for the first time? Now take a look throughout the day. The strongest buying was this green, right? And out of nowhere, now you must understand, for a strong algorithm to appear on SPY, which is, this got to be big orders, man. Hundreds of millions at least. There is a strong participant, so you have to learn to respect it, especially if it's continued. So once you are able to understand strong buying appearing, right, you know that there is going to be some sort of move here. I think it was also at this time. We had a context, right, about this 5-day soaking up the sellers. So this was also very important. Now, if you still don't know about this, watch the other training videos. I've talked about this many times, right? So it's done pre-market, right? Because there is little opposition and they're basically just soaking up the sellers here before the move up. So in a way, they are clearing the resistance before it starts pushing up. You understand that now, right? So review this. I talked about this many times. Where was that? The 5-day, this one. I talked about this many times, right? So you have to, if you're here, if you don't find your value in this, right, you will find value in this thing. You will find value in this. No one is going to teach you this. No one is going to, right? And this is where you will find your value. If you don't find any value in the things I do, that's fine. Please at least find value in this, right? Then you can, yeah, all right, you get my point. Now, so this was when, now there is danger, right? Because you see, wow, this large red candles. And the futures market, we went even deeper, trending down that pink. It was pretty bad. And this is why, you know, when you are having stronger risks, you have to undertake. I mentioned about selling puts instead. Where did I put that? I think. Yeah, I talked about this, right? Sell some puts. If you have certain conviction but you want to manage your risks, right? You make less money. That's fine, right? But you're in position, right, that you can manage the risk. So you realize it's not about how much money you can make. You're not gambling, right? It's about how much risks you can manage. You can't manage overnight positions with that volatility. Then sell some puts. Do not underestimate after hours, because your broker, even though you have an overnight position that you cannot manage, they can manage it for you. Because if it goes below certain of your liquidity requirements, they will margin call you anyway. They will sell your position and liquidate for you anyway. And the next morning you realize you're up, but your position has already been sold. That's how they make your money. This is how big money makes your money, right? They liquidate you, they margin call you before the market goes the reverse direction, because you become their liquidity. You become the reason they buy cheap, and you're selling away cheap. You understand now? That's just how they work. That's how crooks work. That's how big money makes money. It's a form of exploitation. So yes, you have to learn to assess your risks. So even though you may have a position that's a winning position, because it has trended down and you cannot manage the risks, the broker will manage the risk for you. So this is why you have to learn to manage risk, and why I suggested selling puts instead, right? So you understand that, right? And of course, everything went accordingly to plan. So FOMC day, it's quite interesting. It's all right if you don't trade this, right? I mean, look at the candles. It's not that bad. This FOMC was not that bad. So there are still ways you can manage it. The only problem I would have for newer traders will be that we are nearing to end of day. Powell was still speaking, so the IV will be very high. So you'll be overpaying your premiums for a move that may not materialize so late in the day. So your margin of error is so much more reduced. You cannot afford to make mistakes, or you'll be losing money. Right, so that's fine, absolutely fine to not trade this, right? So let's take a look. The next day is another one of those days that is, you've seen it before. If you traded together with me, we show up every day. This is something that is unfamiliar to you, right? So initially, right, you see the market building very strong selling pressure, right? And this was when you identified the stronger algorithms. So once again, you already know if this wants to dump, you know who is the one that's going to facilitate the dump, this blue seller. And this was when you identified the orange, and you see orange is building good work. This is actually a pretty good trade here, right? You have teal as well guiding you on the way down. So this was pretty good, right? And you see the blue. So this is a good trade. This is a good short, right? You saw this blue here was already identified prior. So looking at this and seeing this happen, this is not a bad trade. And because you identified teal, and I warned you there, you knew exactly when to take profit, right? I remember warning you here. Let's see. What time was this? 10 o'clock, right? Let's see. Yes, I reminded you exactly at 10. Teal. Warning you about teal, right? Need to worry about teal. 956. So when it was dumping, right, I warned you about the teal. You have to protect by then. So even though this was a beautiful short structure with that orange, and you have that beautiful precision algorithm, you have to trade as structure demands, because teal was there to block the downside. And you see it started trending down teal as well. Right, now this is, well, as I was talking about stop hunts, right? This is the stop hunt that you need to learn. Look at that stop hunt. So technically we broke magenta, but there was teal below. So this becomes a stop hunt to grab the, especially after large red candle, right? I don't trust large red candles, especially like that. That does not follow the precision. So because you understood teal, you knew that if this wants to go down further, it has to break teal on the way down like that. If it does not, some of you, I saw some of your trades, which was brilliant, that you took the bounce. Because of the teal here, you were so confident of going long. You knew that was a stop hunt. And because of that red candle, it gave you a beautiful fill on your calls. And you had the confirmation once it bounced off that magenta right there, catching this beautiful trade. I read all your trades. All right, I know some of you took this trade. Absolutely beautiful. That comes with training. That comes with showing up every day. And you did it. How does it feel? Absolutely amazing, isn't it? Right? So you managed to catch this instead of shorting, being so fixated to shorting this. Now, once magenta started building, I would be very careful to short this because I don't see any liquidity. The liquidity is here. This is the liquidity. So I would wait for this to short. You see the difference, right? Otherwise, I would wait for teal, if this wants to head down, to turn into some sort of resistance, right? Or I see a breakout, resistance, building liquidity here before it starts heading down, which means I see that the magenta and orange was building a smaller structure here, a nested structure, because this breakout was too early. Then I would have teal as a better risk to reward. So here, I've already taught you many confirmation to wait for instead of shorting this here, all because we identified the teal and the magenta. Not hard, isn't it? Right? But if you're not trained, if you don't practice enough, that lizard brain of yours will want to short when you see this large red candle. That's when you know you're trading by feelings. You're not trading by training. You need to be training. You need to be practicing. So instead of thinking about shorting once you see a red candle, you're thinking, hey, this could be a stop hunt. We lack liquidity here. Teal was here. And you can get a good fill with calls here with very defined risks. Now, does this mean you take calls once you see all red candles? No. But there is a possibility. And it means that you have improved in your brain processing. You have a trading brain now to find profits in the charts instead of a lizard brain trying to just chase red candles. Oh, I must short this. Green candles. Oh, I must go long. You understand the difference, right? You know the difference for yourself. Once you're no longer depending on, chasing trades or just very, very shallow processing ability, like chasing candles. Okay, anyway. Now, this was when I talked about the inverse head and shoulder pattern, right? So I told you, hey, this is ideal. So you see the teal building liquidity. The teal did not even start selling in the bottom range here, right? What happened in the bottom range? Once we rejected that magenta, do you see the pink building liquidity here? Absolutely beautiful. This is when you know, yeah, the bulls may be taking some control, right? But you still have to get in position. You still have to get in position, and you see how penny perfect the teal was, right? Here and here. It's penny perfect. So you could still catch a trade because you already know who's buying, and that blue right there. So you could still manage your risks. It's absolutely beautiful right there. And once you're able to do that, you see how the pink was building more liquidity here. You see that entry and that here right there. Now, technically speaking, this would be a better trade, right? So if you miss all these, it's absolutely fine. This is why I mean you have to learn to practice. When you learn to practice, right, you will be able to take smaller positions for this trade instead while waiting for this, right? How do you manage your risks there? How do you get protected in a position? You'll be surprised. I usually am able to get into position with one candle. I protect it sufficiently within one candle, and I'm stress-free while waiting for a move to happen. If it doesn't happen, I don't lose much. Literally pennies. Right, so anyway, the bigger move here was that pink, the larger cup close, as I told you about, right? So you see cup close here, right? Spillover cup close. You noticed? Spillover cup close. 5-day turn into some sort of support. Now, if you miss this trade here, because there isn't very clear structure, that's fine, because later on you notice. So if you didn't trade here, that's fine. Absolutely fine. You see that for yourself, because later pink rebuild liquidity, and this becomes absolutely clear, especially once it retested 5-day moving average. So what's the worry about missing this, right? This only gave you confirmation that pink is existent, and you can always wait for pink to rebuild liquidity again. So once again, this is the advice that I always give you. If you do not see anything, do not trade this, because eventually you will see something. So if I were there, I were trading at this point in time, I would have taken no trades here. What is this? What is this? Maybe pink, right? Because here, maybe. So don't be making things up. You think I'm making things up, but I'm telling you, no, I will not be trading here. Instead, if you waited and had no trade here, set alerts, you will see, hey, you will see pink. You would see pink building liquidity to the penny. And once we broke and built that liquidity, bounced off from that 5-day moving average and started reclaiming this is when you knew, I could go long. Isn't this a better place to go long than here? And what are you missing? If you went long here, you are literally getting chopped for 2 hours. If you went long here, you literally enjoyed seeing your P&L green for 3 hours. Look at the difference. So back to this. If you don't see anything, there's no trade. No point making things up. I am not making things up. You see it every day for yourself. We are not making things up. So for yourself, do not make things up, because by then you will have a lot of false positives. And false positives are the worst. Are the worst in trading. You do not want false positives, right? You want to be learning how to stack your skills. And that means having access to what's right and wrong definitively. Right? When you understand that, it becomes clear. Now, the charts are not always clear. But let me tell you what's clear. Your risks is always clear. Your protect trade, right? Your trade protection is always clear, because you can define it based on the algorithms, right? If you understand what I mean. If this is my entry here and it retests 5-day, right? I see magenta here. If I wanted to go long here, 5-day, and this magenta will be my stop loss. I would take profits by pink, and then my runners will be nurtured in that orange. This is definitive. Your stop loss is definitive. Your protection is definitive, and by then you would already be up. And because this is trending up, if you chose the right strikes, you would always be green. And even your runners are definitive, because you have the orange to nurture it all the way up. Definitive. Now this is stackable, because you're able to have definitive parameters. The chart is not always definitive. Let me tell you that, right? Sometimes like this is a chop. Before this happens, you don't know for sure, right? And that's fine. So sometimes you have to accept that there will be no trade, and you do absolutely nothing about it because you cannot see it. So when you do that, you realize you will trade so much better, because all you need to do is find one trade in 6.5 hours. Can you do that? Absolutely you can. Right, so this is quite an interesting day, right? With context of that squeeze, of course, right? And we see that happening. So once again, contextual clues are important, right? And for people that say, let's just go long, these are not serious people, right? People who go long knowing that there is a 3-4 point drawdown, don't take them seriously. Just buy calls, come on. How much money are you going to lose and risks before this goes up? What if this continues heading down? You're going to blow your account. Not serious people. So people who just say, just buy calls, just buy puts, please don't treat them seriously. They are not serious people, right? For you, you're different now, right? We are different now. We have precision. You literally can have precision. I want you to see this, right? I talked about this in the training in one of the review videos, right? And I just want to show you again how much precision you can have. Say you took it at a 5-day, right? And using magenta as your stop loss. So that was about here, right? You took it at 5-day, magenta as your stop loss, and you allow it to run through to orange. Say you don't take all the way here, right? Up to here. Look, this is a 9x trade. 8.5x with a very healthy stop loss, nurturing all the way because you have orange. Now, if you were to guide it even tighter because of this, right here, you can imagine how much more you could have gotten right there. How much more you could have gotten. 15x. So the point is now you have the precision on your side, not this sort of drawdown. This is just ridiculous, right? I know people who just take calls at open, right? Let's just do a very quick assessment of that. You take calls at open and you allow it to drag down like that, right? Look at your risk to rewards, 1.49. And you have no guarantee this continues the way up. If you're trading options, you probably bought it at a premium and it probably expired out of the money. So you lose anyway. Not serious, people. All right, so please don't be one of those traders trying to find the easy way out and coming with sorts of lazy excuse like, I just bought calls, I'll be fine. I just bought puts, I'll be fine. Right, you understand that. It comes with the mindset, your mentality. You are an elite trader now. You can have precision. Stop falling back to those very basic premise. Laziness. Just basic. You should despise such mindless comments about trading. You should despise them now because you are of a higher standard now. Right, so, well, thank you. This week has been quite interesting. Right, so we'll go on to the second part, but thank you very much for watching. I'll see you closer to opening bell. Right. Thank you, everyone, for still staying here. Just checking in, doing a quick roundup. So just taking some questions from the YouTube comments, so please just go ahead, YouTube comments. I will be also checking in Discord as well. The Discord, I have the pleasure and the privilege of having many other members addressing that. So I thank you for that. I want to be focusing on the YouTube comment because you probably have been running through the video today. So let's take a look. Yeah, so if you're wondering if it's pre-recorded, you can't tell because I'm always here, right? We're putting in the work together. So you and I were putting in the work together. I'm not going to let you watch something when I'm not around, yeah? So we're in this journey together. Nothing's changed, yeah? You decide to embark on this journey, I'm here with you every single day, right? Even on Sunday afternoon, I'm here. Right, so you show up, you do your best, you know someone else is out there doing their best for you. You see it in the Discord server as well. There are many people doing their best for you as well. What excuse do you have? Right, so let's focus. Let's get it done. So I'll just take some questions for the next probably 10 minutes. I'll just keep this short. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah, so well, the big money, it's always about building liquidity in the market, right? They want more retail traders to come in. So the PDT rule being lifted is obviously one of the ploys to get there, right? So more people can trade, there's more liquidity. It's good for you and me, obviously, but there is a big burden in my heart that there are going to be more gamblers, more people are going to lose their money, their families are going to go hungry. There are more of such people out there, so we've got to do our part as well, right? To educate, to guide. So we have a deeper purpose here. So as I always mentioned, yeah, if you're here and you're still thinking about just yourself, so this is you're thinking about you getting profitable. Now you are probably only living out 10% of your full potential, because once you manage to get profitable, right, your higher calling is to help others and eventually to save the world in a way by fighting against the vices of gambling, of reckless trading that the stock market brings. So don't be short-sighted. When you can chart your sights further out, you will realize the simplest part of your vision and your calling in life is to be profitable. And then this doesn't become so hard anymore, right? Because it's not hard. How hard can it be? One trade a day. How hard can it be? You're just not doing it because you don't allow your identity and your purpose to be of a higher calling. You're so stuck in that shell of yours that you allow your selfish thoughts to run you. You allow your scarcity mindset to run you, that you fail to see that once you're able to see your higher calling and your higher purpose, this becomes basic. This becomes basic. You having the discipline to take one trade a day becomes basic, right? So that's why I'm always trying to impress to you. Feed your family, because that's the next level, right? Feed your family and your community, whoever they are, right? Feed the people around you first. And if you can have this purpose, or you will take trading seriously. That is the minimum. Being profitable truly is the bare minimum. The world makes it look so hard, but you're here for a while. It's not. You see it for yourself. It gets hard when you start forcing trades or not knowing what to do. Everything we do here is stackable, right? You build your skill day after day, right? So after the PDT rule, you know what's next? 24 hours trading. They're going to do that next. It's a matter of time. They want liquidity in there, in the market. They want to be exploiting the poor, right? If you know what the poor do, the poor gamble, right? Gambling is a tax on the poor, and they want the stock market to be a place for that. Yep, it's coming. Get ready for it, right? So stop being a poor person. I truthfully say this. I've been poor. I can say this. Right? Stop being a poor person. And it truly starts from the mind. I came from poor communities, let me tell you that. And you know what's the breakthrough? Education and your mentality. It's not a good job. It's your mentality. If you start thinking like a poor person, if you start acting like a poor person, you will remain poor your entire life. You know the people that break out of the hoods here now, and they progress to become better. They snap themselves out from the mentality. You got to know that, right? So you want to stay poor, you continue to look at yourself and just live for yourself. You know how not to be poor? You have a higher calling. You have a greater vision. That's the way to get out of poverty. You understand? When you stop living for yourself, you will not be poor. I guarantee you that, right? Because you put in so much burden on yourself to live for others. You hijack other people's experience. I always say that, right? Because that's the truth. You hijack other people's experience. You hijack other people's emotions, their feelings, and you put it on yourself. You become an amplified warrior. You become amplified. You're able to take on the world because you carry the burdens, you shoulder the burdens of many people behind you. They give you the power in order for you to achieve things greater than yourself, right? So break it out. Yeah, if you're having a poor mindset, if you're hanging out with people that are just imparting bad habits to you, get out of that toxicity. Break yourself out of it, right? That mindset is extremely important. This is why we prune the group. I tell you, anyone who comes in here gambling, I kick them out immediately. Immediately. Why? Why have them? Right? Because you know, if you come from where I came from, you know toxic immediately when you see it. You know, we give chances for sure, but immediately I earmark you. I know where you come from. You can't fool me. You can't fool most of the people here as well, right? This is the power of the community. and we protect what we have. We protect our sacred purpose. Yeah. Right. So don't let big money get to you. Right. The same way how the news, it's about fooling you. It's about misdirecting you. It's about misleading you. So you become liquidity to put into the market. You have to understand that. So it's a form of discernment once you're able to see the type of BS that they have throughout the world. You know, everything's a ploy. Marketing's a ploy. Advertising's a ploy. Everything's a ploy. You've got to have the discernment to see through that. Yeah. The people whom you can trust are people you can spend time with, right? Because time is the way to expose everyone. Yeah, that's it. Spend time. Time is the best way to expose someone, right? So go ahead, spend time. Anyway, let's get to this. Sorry, let's go. Live trading, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, let me work on it. Yeah, I see some of your comments. I got it. Yeah, no, I'm reading now. If you, I don't know how to put on my chat box in there so you can see that I'm reading. I'm still very bad at this. So what I want to do is to have the YouTube chat appear here. Right, so I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know how to do that. So I'm reading now, I'm scrolling down. I have the chat in another window, but when I drag it over to the screen, it disappears. Never mind, give me time, yeah. Thank you. I'm just reading through now. Let's see. All right. Now, well, A+ trades, quite simple. A+ trades will be, well, obviously head and shoulder patterns. That's my favorite. So you have your A+ trades there. The volume breaking out as well. So that's a very good question, actually. Now, let me just run through that. When you see head and shoulder patterns, it's about breaking range. Right, so you see inside candles here, right? Inside candles, even though the pink was building liquidity. So breaking out of range, this is always welcomed. Always welcomed. Especially with the larger candles, right? So inverse head and shoulder pattern in this case, especially when we have a strong support that you can use as a way to gauge your risks. Another type of A+ setup that I like is failed continuation, right? So especially when they're large candles like that. Lack of liquidity, failed continuation, strong support. So you have an idea, hey, this may reverse. Especially when they're large candles. I love large candles. And everybody does. But the difference between us and everyone else is that a lot of people will chase after large candles. But not you, not me. But you have to be extremely careful because this can absolutely continue to head down as well. Right, so you just have to be more careful, but you'll be surprised. And this comes with practice. You have to practice. That if you see the large candle and say you get a call here, right? Say you get a call here. You'll be surprised that even within the same candle, or in this case, the next candle, you can have it well protected. You will never be in trouble. See it for yourself, practice for yourself. So there is benefit, as I always tell you, there is benefit in getting a good fill. Now, this is what I call trade finesse. When you take calls on red candles, puts on green candles, calls at supports, puts at resistances, and get a good fill means you enjoy the slippage to your favor. Practice. I love trades like that. So whenever there's large candles, right, especially after lots of inside candle chop, that's when I like it very much. And you see it happens every day, right? Every day there will be. It happens. I particularly do not enjoy nurturing. I'm not a fan. Even though I have an open trade, I don't particularly like staying in the trade for hours. Anything can happen. On hindsight, it always looks great. That's the truth. On hindsight, it always looks great. But when you're in a trade with thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, you want to take profit. I would have taken profit here after this last green candle. That's just how it is, right? Maybe I would open a quarter of the position if it reaches back down to the orange and continue up. Maybe I'll just take some, but it will never be a full trade by nurturing. I don't enjoy nurturing runners. I used to. I just lack the ability and stamina to do that now. Right, so to each your own, and you have to know, and this is what I mean by developing your edge. Because trading is different for everyone. You and I were different. We don't have the same risk appetite. We don't have the same perspective on things, right? We each have our strengths and our weaknesses. So work to your favor. Some of you enjoy this very much, and you do very well. You do you. Continue to do that, right? So it's all about practicing in the same team, right? Not everyone are identical players. Right? We're different position and different roles in the entire team. So that's what you need to be doing, right? Focus on that. All right, let's carry on. There's some questions that are answered in the Discord server already. So please, you can check them out. If I would just see what good questions are there, I can immediately address that is relevant to today's training. So I'm not ignoring your question if you have to know. Yeah, Lifer, I will have a meeting soon. I have some very good updates. I do have a worry. One worry. If I share what I have now, it could be very easily plagiarized because there's something very special in there. So that's my only worry now. So let me think how I can overcome that. All right. So once I share the update, I need to launch it ASAP. Or I'm very certain it will be plagiarized. So that's my only worry. So if you don't see any updates, please know that it is with protecting our interest in mind. But thank you for your patience, yeah, and thank you for reminding me, so I can keep you posted here. Let's see. Twitch is well, I'm not a streamer, so maybe Twitch, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, lizard brain, be careful, yeah. Yeah, if it's continuing down, you've got nothing you can do about it. So, like what I mentioned, yeah, you have to learn to protect within the candle. Very, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely continue pushing down. And I always tell you that. If it's in the strongest algorithm, you do not call a reversal because you become exit liquidity. So it can happen, right? So you have to, if you're a newer trader, right? If you're not good enough to trade a single candle, wait for it to break. As simple as that. And chances are you will have the ability to protect it within the candle, right? So precision algorithms, use it to guide you, right? If you're looking things in terms of candles, you're looking at it wrong. You should be looking at algorithms instead, right? So see this instead of seeing the individual candles, right? All right. Let's carry on. After hours, let me think about it, because volume is not great. Your spreads are not great, right? I'm obviously not just, even the futures market, I believe the spreads may not necessarily be great, right? You're sitting duck if you enter a trade. I mean, the people who can do it on the live streams that you watch, believe it or not, they're simulating the trades. It's not real. Most of them, probably some, it's probably simulated. So they don't care about volume. They don't care about becoming sitting ducks. They don't care about spreads. The real things that the real trader worries about. So that's what I believe. I mean, I could be wrong. From what I see, what you guys are watching, these people are just not real, whatever they're doing, right? Simulated. It's not real. Their orders don't go into the order books. So you don't get hunted. And you can fill whatever you want when it's not real. And you get spreads that are unfavorable, but it doesn't matter to you, right? So they are just directionally trading. They're just trading up and down for your entertainment. And they're not really making the money. Well, maybe they are, but probably not in scale, right? If I want to take 20 SPX contracts, I can't do it here. This is suicide. If I enter a fill, I will probably. It's not feasible. Not with this sort of volume, you get hunted, and you have to hold on to higher risks in order to move. It's not. It just isn't. And if you have to trade, you're no longer trading 0 day to expiry, right? So from here on, you have to trade 1 day to expiry, which means you are taking the brunt of the decay for the start of the contract. And I want you to experiment this. You open a 1 day to expiry once the market closes, and by the time it opens, even though it's flat, you will lose 20% of your value. Try it for yourself. See it for yourself. It just doesn't make sense, right? Because it just doesn't. So there is a reason why volume is thin until there's big news where it can move out of range. So once again, it looks great on paper, right? It looks great in the charts. Wow, we went up, right? So in this case, it looks great. In this case, it looks like we had a 3-point overnight gap. But no, you can't make money with this. Trust me. You can't, unless it's your portfolio, right? So you don't have to worry about the fills. You don't have to. It looks great. So this is what I mean by being a directional trader versus being a trader that finds profits in the charts. Who's the real trader? You make your decision. So be careful when you watch too much entertainment online. These people are entertainers, right? They are not real traders. I'm sorry to say that. Yep. I hope I answer your question. But if you want me involved, I could have a drink with you after hours, maybe. And I'm always online by 6 a.m. New York. I'm already up. Yeah, I'm already up 6. I'm already up 6 a.m. New York. I probably haven't truly slept. It'll be 3 a.m. my time. So yeah, you'll see me in the morning too. We could have coffee if you want instead of trading. So anyway, I'll end in another 5 minutes. A couple more questions. Let's see. Yeah. Very good questions. Most of them about updates. Coming soon. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. If I am not updating you, it means that I don't have anything constructive to bother you about. And for my vision is. Oh, no, there's another question about Trading Fellowship channel. My vision is to have at least two gatherings a week. To really build up the ministry, but that will require what we're doing here first to be more stable. I have work to do here. It's not done, right? This is work in progress. So God willing, God give me strength, and but obviously with all your help, I can do it. Why I'm doing this, it's obviously a ministry. Also, apart from, you see the trading knowledge we bring, it will help families. It will help society. So that's why we're doing this, right? So a big part of that is also the ministry. On top of that, apart from trading, once we have the wealth, we use the wealth to distribute it and help other people who don't have it, especially the less privileged, not the lazy people, but those who are truly less privileged, who are truly beaten down in life by circumstances, right? So these are the people who we need to redistribute our wealth to. And that's why there are outside projects that I'm embarking on. It's a lot of work. And I see the opportunity to build a community to work together towards, because it has to be done in the ministry. So a community that will elevate itself to become a ministry, that become a foundation, that is run not by one person, but by collective vision, collective. Well, we obviously need to have bylaws, right? But the process is there, right? And we are starting that here. So that's what we want to do, right? There is a separate prayer channel. It's called Trading Fellowship, if you haven't already know. But I'm trying to find some consistency here first before I build it there, right? So nothing's changed, but I just need time, and that's why there's a Lifers program, because otherwise, in that case, time is your ally. It's like trading. We want time to be our ally, right? Okay, let me take another question. But foundation, taking advantage of extrinsic value. Is there a time where you take advantage of buying directly into money, capitalizing? Oh, absolutely, right? If you just search intrinsic, you search in the money, right? There were many times where I would sell something very deep in the money to enjoy the intrinsic value. So it has happened, yes. And I have taught before how the big money are always buying deep in the money. So big money, the big banks are always selling deep in the money. Sorry, that's what I meant. Buying and selling deep in the money. That's what they do, right? Because they have the capital to do that, right? So yes, as you get better, as you get richer to trade, you need to get deep in the money for your longer term trades. Shorter term, it makes sense to take something out of the money and get it in the money. So that's how you make the exponential growth, right? But if it's something longer term, you need to be learning to take something in the money, so it preserves your intrinsic value. So if we take a look at the order books, if you take a look at the order flows, pay attention to order flows. You will notice there will always be orders. For example, say Apple. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple's at 280 now. Incredible, right? Once in a while, you will see 200 calls being bought. Or, yeah, you will pay attention. You will see very, very deep in the money. 230 calls. It's fine. They will pay for the intrinsic value. It's like buying stocks. You're already paying for the intrinsic value. So you see them doing that, right? So it is part of a strategy. So remember the point about calls and puts. It's used as a lottery ticket today, but it's supposed to be used as an option, literally. They're giving you an option to buy or sell a stock. So if you pay attention, you will see that deep intrinsic value is a very viable strategy, right? And yeah, I will teach that next time. Let's see if there's an opportunity for me to talk more about that. Okay, next. I have time, so maybe I will end it in 10 minutes. Let's see. Tuesday. Let's take a look at Tuesday. What did I talk about on Tuesday? The zombie entry on Tuesday. Where was that? I seriously have to get my chat box here. Yeah, let me look into how to do that. No excuses now, right? I can always ask ChatGPT on how to do that. Where was the zombie I talked about on Tuesday? Was it here? Yeah, maybe. Well, no need for a zombie. You see the magenta building liquidity, yeah? The zombie can help with the pink because we identified the pink here. So you see the wedge here? You see magenta building liquidity in the wedge. 5 day as resistance. This was clear. So yeah, treat it as a zombie, sure. But it's clear. This was a very good short here. It was quite clear. Right? Many conditions to help you with your shorting here. Because of magenta, because of pink, because of 5 day. Simple. Right. Okay, next. Let's see. Yeah, if your boss respects you enough in your work that you're doing and you're showing up every day, yeah, you can say that to your boss. Saying that you're not updating you because I have nothing good to update. If you show up every day, you're doing work, and your boss is benefiting from it. Yeah, yes, a healthy relationship works like that. That you trust the person what he's saying. So yeah, if your boss doesn't respect you that way, I'm sorry. So I'm not sure what the message is about, but I'm thankful we have a healthy relationship here, where I trust your words, you trust mine, and I'm doing my best, and so are you. Sometimes, we are so exposed to unhealthy relationships in our lives, we forget what really a healthy relationship is. Yeah, hopefully our relationship remains healthy. Yeah, I know some of you have made very good money trading. You want to give back. Just give it to St. Jude's, yeah? Give it to St. Jude's. That's the best way. If you can't support me, if you can't find a way to support me, give it to St. Jude's, yeah? Or give it to whoever that matters to you or relevant. Just give it away. Just give it. So you don't have to give it through me. Give it away. Give someone. Give someone that matters to you. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm reading the instructions, so thank you for that. Okay, one more. Let's go. Let's see. Yeah, most importantly, feed your family. Yes, that's very, very important. Feed your family, right? If you can't take care of yourself, that's the first step, right? So take care of yourself, eat healthily, live healthily, good habits, right? So your bad trading habits, you have to eradicate that because you need good habits. Once you take care of yourself, your immediate needs is to take care of those around you, right? So do whatever it takes, take care of them. If it means starving yourself a little to take care of someone else, do that, right? That's what it means to feed your family. When you do that, you realize you will multiply because you will start making more than you think you do. Because when you take care of someone else already and you feel hungry, you are more inclined to take care of yourself more. So you see, you're already taken care of someone, and when you're hungry, you're motivated to do more for yourself. You have multiplied. You see the difference. But a lot of times when we feed ourselves first, and when we feel full, we are less motivated to make more. You see the problem. So people who serve others will multiply. You understand that now. There is a certain logic to this. So feed other people first, serve other people, and then you will still continue to see you have that bandwidth, you have that ability to still make some more. And you watch yourself make some more. And then it multiplies and you realize, wow, your threshold is so much higher than you think it is. And you push yourself further. Right? So go hungry. Believe me, I have been. You go hungry, you will be surprised at your limits. You will be. If you go hungry, you will be surprised how much you can starve and how much you can work to get there. Right? Yeah. All right. Let's see. Next. In person, yes. My funeral. All of you are invited. That will be the review. Hopefully documentations will be up. Your names will all already be there. So you're coming to my funeral to sign the contract. Right? That's the plan. And I mean it. I mean it. So people who come will have a contract to sign to be part of what we're doing. That truly is my plan. Yeah. Right, anyway. Let's see. Well, now you know my plan, right? Right. Okay, a couple more questions. Let's see. There's some very good questions here. I kind of missed one or two of them. Let's see. Right. When do you know when not to trade? Usually, after a big day, it's time not to trade. Right. Usually after a big day, it's probably going to grind up or it's time not to trade. The very simple basis is if it wants to reverse, tapering takes time. So allow it to taper. And you understand this many times already as I have explained it to you in terms of allowing the indicators to catch up. You've heard this before many times. So watch the videos, you see it every day, I remind you, right? And when you see them slowly catching up, you notice, hey, it's starting to taper. And this is why on Friday, well, partially also because Friday was the first day of the month, right? So usually they would start taking some profits because they don't have to maintain their portfolio. Last day of the month, right? They have to show on their portfolio that they bought, that they bought, right? They have the positions in the portfolio. And then first day, they will sometimes take profits. So you see the first time that we have some red, it's still a green day, mind you, right? Because we gapped up. But some selling has commenced because we are starting to see, right? So you see on the 30-minute chart here, right? Some selling has commenced because you start to see that the indicators have starting to catch up and there may be some tapering. Now watch the first part of the video. We don't know this for sure yet, so just be more mindful of that. Yeah. So anyway, after every big day, it's usually a grind or a chop. Not always, but it's a good indicator for that. And also understanding where the wedge is. So you see the chop always happen in the wedge, right? You see right smack in the middle where 5 day is. It's a chop. You know that. Well, there's no need to fight it. Well, it is what it is. Right. Trading was, well, if you don't know, if you're not sure, this became very much obvious after 0 day to expiry options were introduced. It has concentrated the liquidity to the point that the market makers became extremely lazy, allowing the algorithms to do the trading for them. So this is to our benefit, right? I'm a math major, so I'm not a quant trader. Don't be mistaken. I'm not, but I know enough to be able to understand and to derive certain things from here. So that's what happened. It didn't used to be this easy, right? So now people say because of 0 day to expiry. So you see, that's it works both ways, right? Before this, right, the moves were larger, and we were able to enjoy a lot of the structural trades with good rewards. So the risk to rewards were much higher then. But the difference now is that it's more precise. So the risk to rewards are still high, but I can minimize my risks even further. So people complain about 0 day to expiry, but this is a godsend to us. because we were able to concentrate the liquidity and define our risks even tighter. So this is fantastic. And this is just telling you that the entire stock market now is run by algorithms. It's a program that's trading everything. This is the future. No one is truly trading now except the retail traders. But we don't leave a dent in the market, right? The algorithms are the things that do. And the best part about the algorithms, because of high frequency trading, they are extremely precise. The algorithms have to be precise. And you see it happening. So it becomes our benefit as well. Do I have more secrets? Yes. You think I'm teaching you everything? Yeah. No, I'm not. More secrets from this. A lot more. And I'm thinking of how to be imparting them to a small group of traders. Established ones. So please succeed quickly, prosper. Because there will be this group that I will be sharing secrets with, because I already know you will protect me and you are profitable enough. That's the greatest sign of assurance, that I already know you are making money from what we are doing here, and I will help you make more money, right? And you will bring the secrets to your grave. Yes. So prosper quickly. Get, like what I tell you, right? Getting profitable is only 1 to 10% of what you're doing. You need to get there, and then we will do much more. Chart your vision further. All right, you're so worried about getting profitable. It's look further. Look further. You don't enter a championship team and worry about winning your home game only, you know. You know what I mean. You're a championship team. You think about winning the championship. You think about entering the playoffs. You're not worried about your next away game. You see what I mean, right? So chart higher. You're a winning team now. You're a winning team now. Act like one. Yep. All right. Yeah, exactly. The big money are very precise. They are already doing extremely precise, not just to the penny, to the micro penny. Wait, a penny is micro penny, but yeah, in finance we have micro pennies, right? So anyway, you get what I mean. All right, I think we are about there. So yeah, so it's a thing, right? If you're plagiarizing what I'm doing, I will always beat you to it, because I have more things to teach. So you will, if you plagiarize me, you think you got it figured out, right? I will wait for you to think you got it figured out, and I will beat you to it. And all your hard work that you have done plagiarizing me will suddenly be invalid and useless. So you guys don't know. If you're plagiarizing, you're watching this now, you're thinking you're a thief, and you're thinking, you're going to beat me at my game. You have no idea, folks. So here's an invitation. Join me, right? You get more money than I do. Yes, you know the program exists. I don't even need the money. You take it. In fact, I think it's, 60% minus my fees. I don't even take 30%, I think. Right? So help. Join. And I will do the work. You don't even need to do a thing. You just help me supporting the community. That's what you need to do. Right? So I don't understand some of you plagiarizing me. Do you know? Do you realize I can beat you at your game anytime if I decide to? Don't be silly, yes? Right? Let's do it the right way. Right? I'm not greedy. I'm not even competing with you in terms of market share. I don't care. Right? Let's work together. Let's get it done. All right. Next. Let's see. Right. Okay. Last update for today. The course. Right. You notice it's not truly a course yet. You think this is a course. This is not a course. And anyway, thank you for. There's this member that. Yeah, compiled the links of all the courses. Well done. Thank you very much. It's lacking the WAP links, so I will furnish them that later. Right, but thank you very much. Thank you. I'm extremely grateful. Anyway, I'm grateful for everyone, that's contributing. So I lost my train of thoughts. Yeah. So anyway, if you're, whoa, goodness, I lost my train of thoughts. In gratitude, it has drowned out my train of thoughts. What did I wanted to say? Oh yeah, the course. So you think this is the course. This is not the course, man. This is just my weekly training videos. And on top of the weekly training videos, I am going to introduce a course. I will be introducing that once I sort everything out and I increase the price. So I'm going to double the price. But you will not be affected. You will always be grandfathered in the old rate that you have signed up for. Yeah. So just continue what you're doing, right? Because once I introduce the course, it is $200. So I want you to be part of the grandfathered rate, so you will never be missing out. And consider joining the LIFA program, as I tell you, because LIFA program means time is your ally; it's not against you, right? I think I closed the program, but anyway, I'll open it again soon. Higher price, of course. Yeah. So anyway, now, yeah, I don't like WAP. It's not great. I'm thinking of changing to Lemon Squeezy. WAP is terrible. I'm sorry, WAP, but you're terrible. After your change in management, you have become extremely bad. So don't mind me. I'm still doing some research. Lemon Squeezy, I think it's good. I've been testing it out. So that also pays out much more. So apparently, if your referral signs up for another program, you enjoy the affiliate on top of that, So you get stacked income. So much better than WAP. So I truly do not enjoy WAP. I'm sure some of you are like that too, right? So yeah, Lemon Squeezy, I think. I think that will be much better. Give me some advice as well. Some of you who are much better experts than me. And yeah, we'll get there. It's all right if you have your LIFA on WAP. The thing about LIFA is this: you're immortalized. So why worry, right? So whatever platform you are in, I will put it in the database, right? And you will always be there. So don't worry, all right? Don't worry if you got your LIFA on WAP. You're immortalized, because as long as you have your data there accurately, your email, your Discord handle, everything is accurate there. I have you on the database. Everything's fine. All right. Yeah, that's right. For the Patreon, you see, the Patreon LIFA, I wanted to make it easy for you. So yeah, after 12 months, you enter into the database. You're immortalized as well, right? So up to you whether you want to support thereafter. But the point about trading is this, right? I want you to be making money. If you're making money, $100 a month in the trading world is nothing. Like what I tell you, if you worry about $100 a month while trading, you could get a better job. Go learn how to do plumbing, for example. You're going to make so much more money than worrying about $100 a month. So choose your battles, my dear. Choose your battles. If $100 a month is a problem to you, watch the free videos. I'm there anyway. Right? So you learn it from there and you slowly build it up. You don't always have to pay. Right? Yes. Choose your battles. All right? And if you're making enough money, and you see why we're making money. So when we make money together, You realize at the end of the day, once we make money, it's being transferred to the foundation. That's what I want to do. Do you see the beauty of that? So you do not feel bad. I don't know why you feel bad about making money. If you have a proper life of redistributing your wealth, of taking care of your family, of your community, my goodness, God wants you to make money, right? Because you have become a very good and faithful servant and a conduit of his blessings. So be that person. Be that person. And obviously find communities, find channels that can allow you to do that. Yes? Right. All right, let's see. Yeah, so please, right? Look, that's a reason why I'm showing you big trades. YouTube don't like that, but the truth is the truth. I show you how you can make. I don't even dare say it now, right? YouTube's gonna ban me, even with the proof, right? But you understand, you can make significant money on the stock market. But if you're worrying about $100 a month, wrong time, wrong place. Practice first. Free. That's fine. You still can be with me on YouTube, no problem. Right? I may even open a separate channel for those that cannot afford it but want to learn. Right? Maybe. I let me think about that. Or you may get some sponsorship from someone else, someone who's doing well. But you have to prove your ability. So you see, there are ways and means to get that done. But if you're worrying about $100 a month, please, no, this is not good. All right, worry about that later. Go get a proper job first. Yeah, you understand what I mean. Some of you are gambling. You're literally gambling every single cent you have, joining a Discord group, hoping it's a signal group that can help grow your $100 to $1 million. I know you. Come on. Right? Stop fooling yourself. And frankly speaking, yeah, you've got to be wise with your money, right? If this amount is, the truth is this, right? The truth is this: more than half of us here make it back easily. That's the truth. The reason that we are a growing community is because we are making money. That's the sign you know that it's profitable. It's a good community because we're making money. So it's not a problem. So prosper. And then once you make money, you see making money is not a problem. How do you conduct yourself after making money? Now that is crucial. Give it away, as I tell you. Give. Once you give, you are hungry, you starve, you realize you have the propensity to make even more. So if you're struggling to break a plateau in your life, right, you're making good money, yes, but you're struggling to plateau, you're plateauing, you're struggling to make more, I challenge you, give it. Once you give, you realize, wow, you'll make double. That's just how it works, right? So you challenge yourself that way. It's, and some in religious terms, it's a faith journey. Right, anyway. No, don't worry about canceling. You can cancel, no problem, right? Or if you don't cancel, I'm grateful for you. But you know, why we're trading, and eventually, after trading, this is a high income skill, right? Money must no longer be a problem. Remember that foundation that I write, right? Once money is no longer a problem, you can focus on the biggest stuff in life. Now, it's not just about making money, right? How to make money not a problem for you. Keep your expenses low. Live frugally. As I always say. It's not my words, but I always repeat it, right? Earn all you can, save all you can, give all you can. Your life will be so meaningful when you do that, right? So earn all you can, save all you can, give all you can. I didn't say that, but I'd like to repeat that, yeah? All right. Let's see. Yeah, thank you for your helps, most of you. I know you guys are supremely talented. Supremely. Right? We have some big wigs in among us. Right? You can't tell, right? But we have some serious people in our community. I'm honored. I don't even belong in the leagues of some of you. But here you are, you chose me to be your companion. I'm grateful, right? And this is how we keep each other accountable. We keep each other humble, and we keep each other learning from each other. You teach me life lessons. You teach me good lessons in your fields. Believe me, I am humbled. There are big wigs among us. Let me tell you that, man. You don't reveal yourself, some of you, but oh, I know, man. I know. So thank you for being here. All right. All right. Okay, well, good. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow anyway, opening bell, yeah. So there are some exciting updates coming. It's closer than ever. Closer than ever. I just have to do the final touches, and I worry about some plagiarism in place, right? Because I am not a market leader in terms of software out there. So, for example, the proprietary trading platform, I'm not the market leader now, right? We are not a market leader. So there are some things that can be very easily plagiarized. I worry. So I want to be quick to launch immediately once I share. So pardon my secrecy. It's to protect us as well, right? You're part of this. Yeah. And what I can share, I will certainly do. There's some really big lemon squeezy as well, right? So affiliate platform, please let me know. I found a way to make sure that you are being paid more than you should, and work from there, right? So let's build this foundation together. Yeah. And well, you know my plans. It's the first time I review my plans about written contracts. So my funeral, yes, that will be where it all starts. I mean it. I truly do. Once we have all the documentations in place, that will be where you will sign a contract. And that will be the big review. You'll be like, Eric, that's you. Oh boy. God willing, we have lots more work to do. The day he takes me, it's the day I know my work's done. But until then, we show up every day. We do our best. Yeah. I'm quite sure I have a lot more work to do, because I could have died, but I didn't. So I have a lot more work to do. I know that. And you realize that things have been ramped up after my surgery, because I realize we need to be doing much more than just trading, right? So it's a lot more to go. A lot more to go, fellas. A lot more. All right, thank you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. 2 hours, 20 minutes. I'm truly grateful. Put in the work, right? I will get AI to sort this out. So I'm also, well, the reason why my vote is taking a little delay is because I am getting AI to sort everything out, all the content. So it breaks down into chapters and tags. So for example, there's a certain tag, you can just click on it and it goes there. I am doing a playback feature as well, together with the Discord analysis. So for you programmers out there, apparently what I found out is that TradingView has now, so previously what happened was that in order for the algorithms to be charted out, I have to use a visual capture, and for the AI to do the visual capture, right? But now, apparently, TradingView has released a data where I can find out the exact coordinates of all the algorithms that are charted out. So it's no longer visual. It is no longer a visual. It is actually data, precision, that can be exported. So that's incredible, isn't it? Previously, they didn't have that, and they introduced it. So that's incredible. So now with precision data, I can link it up together with the analysis from the end of day and provide candle by candle playback together with the algorithms. That's great. So yeah, that's a lot of work to be done. So as I mentioned, right, if you're thinking about plagiarizing me and then doing something really silly by stealing my work, I will one-up you instantly. We here, you're not just plagiarizing against me, right? We will destroy you in a heartbeat because we have so much up our sleeves. You don't have my resources, trust me, right? You're probably if you're stealing, you're no good. If you're stealing, you probably have nothing good. I have resources that can crush you. All right, so please don't be silly. Join me, join us. We have something good going on. Let's just do it together. All right. So please don't be silly if you're thinking of plagiarizing. So many of you are not silly, and I'm thankful for that, right? But there's just a handful of little greedy buggers. I don't understand why you do things like that. All right. Okay. We've got this. I need your help. Thank you for helping. I will help you as well in trading. That's what I'm good at, right? But all the tech things, I may need your help. Please help me when I do call upon you. Thank you. I'll see you closer to opening bell. Be careful, 6 p.m. Do not overtrade, right? Wait for opening bell, right? That's probably some news that landed, right? Don't overtrade it, right? Wait for opening bell. We'll find profits in the charts. All right. Thank you very much. See you closer to opening bell. Bye-bye.